Look at this answer. It's technically flawless, perfectly memorized, and in your Cambridge 9626 IT exam, it will score you absolutely 0 marks. We're breaking down the hidden trap that's secretly destroying your data source grades and how to fix it right now.
Imagine sitting in that exam hall. You're facing a heavy scenario-based question about data sources. You confidently write down this exact textbook definition. Direct data is collected for a specific purpose, while indirect data was originally collected for a different purpose. You put your pen down. You feel amazing. You think you've secured the points. But let's look at what the examiner actually gives you.
0, a big fat 0. The harsh reality of the 9626 mark scheme is that generic definitions in scenario-based questions get exactly 0 credit. You know the theory inside out, but without the right application, those marks completely vanish.
Section 1. The costly exam mistake. Let's dig into exactly why ordinary revision fails and how these Cambridge examiners actually grade your papers.
See, students constantly memorize flashcards and cram textbook definitions. They know the theory backward and forward. But they hemorrhage marks because they fail to anchor their explanation to the specific IT situation provided in the paper. Guys, context is literally everything. If the exam asks you about a hospital network, your answer better be explicitly about a hospital, not just data floating around in a vacuum.
These are the absolute classic wrong turns we see destroying grade boundaries year after year. Look at this list. Students use generic, vague wording. They confuse validation with verification. They skipped vital process steps, or they describe some completely different, loosely related technology. But the biggest trap of all? Dropping the context. Just dropping the name of a technique like indirect data collection without explaining exactly how it functions within the given scenario is a guaranteed way to lose those top marks.
Section 2. Direct versus indirect data. We need to nail down the theoretical foundation before we can apply our quick-win exam framework.
Let's sharply contrast these two concepts, because confusing them during comparative evaluation tasks is a major pitfall. Direct data is collected specifically for the exact problem or task you're dealing with right now. Need to know how many cars pass a junction today? You install a sensor there today. Indirect data, on the other hand, is existing data repurposed from an earlier, entirely different task, like using last year's traffic census to estimate today's numbers.
To guarantee you never mix these up again, we're using the 4-prompt memory structure. Memorizing definitions isn't enough anymore. For any IT concept, you need to confidently answer aloud, what is it, how does it work, where is it used, and, most importantly, why is it better or worse than the alternative in that specific situation? Once you can answer those 4 prompts, your theoretical knowledge is finally weaponized for the exam.
Section 3. The Context Anchor Framework. Now, in a moment, I'll show you the hidden examiner clue that changes your answer completely. But first, you absolutely need the framework that makes that clue obvious.
This disciplined methodology right here is your secret weapon. We call it the PLJ framework. You start with your point, identifying the exact process, then evidence, classifying the relevant hardware or data. Next is explanation, detailing the exact sequence of how it works. Then the link, which is your anchor, connecting it directly back to the specific scenario. And finally, judgment, evaluating why it actually matters. This is the exact step-by-step structure that unlocks those top band marks.
Section 4. The Examiner's Desk. Let's put on our examiner glasses and look at what actually gets rewarded in extended responses.
Check out the flawed answer on the left. Direct data is better because it is more accurate for the business. It's totally generic. That could apply to a bakery, a space station, or a bank. 0 marks. Now look at the top band answer on the right. For this payroll system, direct data via biometric time cards ensures accurate hours worked, preventing the overpayment risks associated with indirect HR estimates. Do you see the difference? It tightly anchors the theory to the payroll scenario, mentions biometric time cards, and contrasts the specific risks. That is a masterclass in mark scoring.
The golden rule here is that specificity wins marks, period. Whether your exam scenario is about a secure website, a complex spreadsheet, or a multimedia workflow, your answer has to stubbornly live inside that exact context. Don't just dump everything you know about a topic onto the page. Write exactly what matters for the scenario they gave you.
Section 5. The interactive checkpoint. Let's put your mark scheme logic to the test with a quick pause and predict challenge.
Here's the challenge.
Read this statement: the hospital should use indirect data because it is cheaper and faster to obtain from existing databases. Take a second and think. Why would a Cambridge examiner ruthlessly withhold marks from this seemingly logical conclusion? Think back to our framework. What's missing?
If you said it's missing the scenario link, you absolutely nailed it. It fails because it completely ignores what hospital data we're talking about. Are we talking about patient records, heart rate monitors, bed availability? And how exactly does that speed benefit the patient's care? It's a naked claim. Without the evidence and explanation tying faster and cheaper to the high-stakes reality of a hospital, it's useless.
Mapping out these real-world links is a game changer for your memory. Look at these contrasts. If the scenario is weather monitoring, your direct data is real-time live sensors, while your indirect data is last year's climate database. For a secure website, direct is live user authentication, while indirect relies on previous session cookies. Memorizing these contrasting pairs makes your contextual anchors totally unbreakable under exam pressure.
Section 6, the diagnostic cliffhanger. So, we've solved the context problem. But there is one final, hidden trap that entirely dictates your mark band.
Just imagine doing all that hard work. You anchored your scenario perfectly. You used the PLJ framework. You were incredibly specific, only to open your results and be hit with this brutal examiner feedback. The candidate demonstrated excellent scenario understanding, but ultimately failed to evaluate the data sources, restricting their mark. Ouch. So what actually went wrong here?
You nailed the context, but did you obey the command word? All the context in the world won't save you if you describe when the examiner explicitly asked you to evaluate. The secret to your final grade hinges entirely on cracking these command words. To find out exactly how they dictate your mark band, you need to click the video on screen right now. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations, and I'll see you in the next video where we decode the command word trap.